Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat-like video. Today we're going to be showcasing a really strong team in the Ultra League, sent in by HUGO. Thank you very much HUGO for sending in these battles. Today we're going to be showcasing a really fun and strong core in the Ultra League, which is Sandslash and Charizard. I showcased this a couple of days ago, except I used Jellicent, which was a little bit weak to certain things. However, we're using Giratina with Dragon Breath today, and this team is extremely strong. Whenever you're using two Pokemon like Charizard and Sandslash in the same team, you sort of need a middle Pokemon that's really bulky, that you can catch moves on, and basically absorb a ton of damage and energy from the opponent. There's no better Pokemon than Giratina for that, and Giratina is actually really strong with Dragon Breath. I am a big fan of this personally. I used it last season in my Walrein team. The reason Dragon Breath is so good is because it allows you to beat some of the flyers, it allows you to beat Obstagoon, and generally gives you very positive matchups in the mirror match, and can be very oppressive to the opponent, especially because Gira is so tanky, and can eat multiple moves, still reach multiple Dragon Claws, and of course Dragon Breath damage just adds up on Pokemon, especially Pokemon with a low HP stat, so Dragon Breath Gira is just super powerful. Before we hop on into the battles here, HUGO's playing very well. He got a very bad lead this match, and it looks like he's actually flipping this around. We have a Regirock in the back and we're just loaded on energy. Really quickly, before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, hit that like button, it is absolutely free, and of course subscribe as well. We hit 2.4k yesterday, so shout out to everybody man, much appreciated. I was asking you guys to hit me over 2.4k. I think we're about halfway to 2.5k now, so thank you very much everyone. And let's go for 100 likes on today's video as well. And finally, if you want to send in some battles, go on ahead in the description down below. You'll see a link to my Google form, or you can join Discord with a link to the Google Drive, and of course I'll react to them if I do find them interesting at the time. We have a very interesting one for next week. We have Little Jungle Cup coming up, and I know somebody who's going to send in Bidoof gameplay, so stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a pretty interesting and funny one. And yeah, let's hop on into these battles, folks. I hope you're all having a fantastic day here. We do manage to take that game, man. Charizard's such an amazing sweeper. And like I said, with this team, we've pretty much got a sweeper in the front and a sweeper in the back. Now, this is a pretty even matchup. I think it's slightly in favour of Sandslash. We do go straight for the Ice Punch here, and the opponent will just let it go probably because they can live it. But whenever the second one comes through, this is going to be rough. The opponents, they do go for one overfarm, but they do still throw the move. Or the opponent's baiting. I'm not sure if they predicted that or what happened. And now you're going to see the power of Dragon Breath Giratina. A very negative matchup, of course, against the Dark type. But ordinarily the Shadow Claws would be resisted, and you can see here that the Charizard Dragon Clawed us, and they've also just been snarling us down, and we're only at 50%, but the opponent here, they're at like 65%, so like the Dragon Breaths are super adding up on this thing, and we're going to come back in with Sandslash, which of course is a little bit awkward. The fast moves are resisted, but we do go for a very nice CMP here. This won't quite take out the Mandy. It's super thick in this league, and just in general of course, but I think what we might look to do is go for an overfarm. I feel like we can eat two foul plays pretty comfortably here, maybe not the most comfortably, but I think HUGO did want to get off the move there. So we should be able to go for a huge overfarm. We're actually coming into Charizard for this farm down. A huge fan of this play right here. Oh, we do get the farm down perfectly as well. Back in comes their Charizard. Now, I believe, is this just a Dragon Claw? I think it was just a Dragon Claw because they, of course, built up to back and threw it off on the Sandslash as a bait, or, of course, we caught it on the Gira. The opponent lets it go, and in comes Swambass, folks. And we're going to go straight for the Blast Burn. The opponent can live this, so oftentimes the opponent lets the first move go. They do let it go. And at this point, we're in a farm down range. Now, we're getting a little bit of lag there. I'm not sure if we were getting those wing attacks through. We're building up a ton of energy, and we still have energy on the other thing. So what we need to do here, of course, is just come in, fire off this move here. We'll fire off an Ice Punch. We're almost at the back-to-back. So I think if the opponent commits to the farm down, it's going to be very, very close. Will they throw the move? They do throw the move. So the opponent must have realized that we're very close to the back-to-back. I think in that situation, the opponent sort of had to commit to the farm down, because now they're dry. We're going to outpace with the Charizard, and that's going to be a good game. So if the opponent had have managed to get the farm down, they maybe could have won it, but I do think we would have survived one mud shot. Sandslash in the Ultra League is a lot more bulky, and it's not to say that it is bulky, but it is a lot more bulky than Great League. Now we have a pretty, I feel like this is a positive lead, but it's pretty neutral overall, and we're going to look to probably throw in 7 here for good timing. The opponent, they're farming up to the Shadow Ball, and at this point, I feel like if you shield the Shadow Ball, you definitely win this match, so we'll see what the opponent does. They throw, I think, on good timing here, and looks like we're going to call it. They do YOLO the Shadow Ball, and we can actually live that quite comfortably. The opponent's going to fire off here what's most likely a Surf. I typically shield the first one off Jellicent because they do YOLO the Shadow Ball 99% of the time. We're going to go for the Drill Run here. I'm not sure if Ice Punch would have taken it out. Of course, the Pokemon are a little bit more bulky. May have just about taken it out. We go for a very fast swap. The opponent's got a Scrafty in the back. So I feel like this could be Scrafty and Obstagoon potentially, like a double counter backline. Also, it's like double weak to counter as well. So I feel like Jellicent in the front for that, and then if this team seen Charm, they would just fucking top left, like, that's what I'm thinking here. We'll see what happens. Foul play coming through, and this is where this Pokemon is so much better. Oh, it's Nidoqueen, interesting. I guess that makes a lot more sense than being triple weak to Charm. You do need something. So it looks like the opponent's playing this in a sort of reverse order. I feel like on this team you would normally have Nidoqueen in the lead, but maybe not. Maybe this is just a common team. Something that I need to do is learn Ultra League teams a little bit better. They Poison Fangus, which is enough from that range. And I feel like we should be maybe in a little bit of an awkward position, because Nidoqueen is just an awkward Pokemon to deal with. Poison Fang coming through, and I do believe they'll get to another one. We're going to go for the Dragon Claw. Will this be enough to take out the Nidoqueen? They are getting pretty low. It does take them out, and in comes Scrafty. All we need to do at this point is build up to the back-to-back. That was not a CMP, which means that if they do CMP us here, we're going to win it, and the opponent lets it go. They see the writing on the wall, of course, and good games, very well played. I feel like this is slightly positive for Tapu, but it's pretty neutral lead overall. As you can see, these water guns are just super impressive, but we do outpace to the moves. Unfortunately, they do get off the surf first here, and we're going to see what the opponent wants to do. Now at this range, they definitely can 2-shield and farm down, so we'll see how this goes. Boom. Yeah, I think that's the plan here for the opponent. 2-shield farm down. Tapu Fini is just such a core breaker for this team because, of course, Water Gun rips through Charizard. The opponent just let a move go there. Can we reach another one? We really need to. The opponent throws energy. That's absolutely perfect. At this point, this is where Dragon Breath Gira is slightly worse, but we can definitely farm this down. Even if they get off a Moonblast, we can potentially eat it. Yeah, so we are actually going to respect it, which is respectable. You would think that this is the hardest answer for Gira, and we're just matching shields here. We get a ton of energy on the Gira, and in comes Obstagoon. So this opponent appears not to have a great answer to this. So they have a Fairy in the lead. They need some sort of an answer to Poison, or some sort of an answer to like Ampharos maybe. So it could just be another Giratina in the back. We're getting off a ton of damage here, as you're seeing, and we're throwing in good timing. Throwing after one Dragon Breath in between the counters, and these Night Slashes, you know, you can maybe shield one of them potentially, or you can look to just absorb all the damage and look to go for the sweep with Charizard, which I think is probably the best idea. I think at this point you probably look to swap out, get the energy. Yep, we've both swapped out at the same time. And now we're seeing the opponent's Giratina. See, this is very awkward still because these Dragon Claws don't do that much, even though this is Shadow. Like, their Dragon Claw is doing probably more than ours, and their Shadow Claws are really adding up. And this would be even worse if they had Dragon Breath themselves, right? Like, so like this is kind of tough. We're going to get off one more move here potentially, because we do pace equally to these moves, of course. Wing Attack and Shadow Claw have the same energy generation there. Shadow Claw does a little bit more damage though. And of course, this thing is way more HP. This is going to be very, very close. We're just at the move here. We need this to KO. We cannot afford to take another Shadow Claw. We need to be able to Dragon Breath it down. They do get through one more Shadow Claw, and that is super unfortunate. They do get through the counter, which of course we're in one counter range. I think we would have lived a couple of counters had they not got through that Shadow Claw. Super unlucky there, but we're hopping to the next one. I love this lead right here. Cresselia, amazing lead for Sandslash. Their moves do add up, so if they play at the zeros, which of course they probably will, Cresselias don't really typically like to shield anything anyway. But if they play at the zeros, they're going to get us quite low, but we will be able to come out with a ton of energy, or maybe the opponent will look to catch a move later on. The fact they're staying in here sometimes indicates that they don't really have a good safe swap to deal with Sandslash, so it might be a consideration to get out of here at some point. We're going to let this move go. We don't have to shield it up at all, and hopefully we should be able to outpace. Yeah, the opponent swaps out. They go for the snipe with S-Cav and we come in with this thing. I think we probably could have came in with Zard, but I think that's absolutely fine. You do prefer to sweep with Zard, so like them getting chips into you like in the middle of the match, it's not really great. So I don't mind coming into Gira in this situation, because sometimes they could be using this to draw out the Charizard or whatever the case may be. Drill Run coming through, it does add up for sure. The first time we went for Dragon Claw, we're going for the Shadow Sneak this time. I think, of course, that was like a misclick or something. That doesn't quite take them out, and unfortunately, we don't take them out here. You can't really shield this with a Charizard, so you look to basically Wing Attack it down, and in comes Ampharos, bro. This is rough, bro. So maybe it was better just to come in Charizard. You know, hindsight's 2020 sometimes, and this is looking pretty rough. We need to get to a move here. Can we get to the move? The opponent is far off, and like they're just going to overfarm like crazy. They get to the moves relatively quickly, and these Volt Switches do a ton of damage. They're basically like Shadow Claws stacked on top of each other. Does an absolute ton of damage here. Sonic the Hedgehog just gets absolutely blasted out of here, and I think they're up to back-to-back moves, or very close to back-to-back. So that's going to be a good game, unfortunately. I wonder what their second move would have been. Since they're going for Brutal Swing instead of Thunder Punch, they must be on Focus Blast or the other move, Zap Cannon. We get a mirror lead here. Let's see what we decide to do. We're Shadow and they're non-Shadow, so I wonder, does that mean it's positive for us or positive for them? I think they went for Catch there. I seen something pop up there. Oh, they went for Catch and Golisopod. So I'm assuming that this is going to be like a very similar team with Golisopod and Charizard in the back. So we're coming in with Gira here. Liquidations, of course, would hurt the Charizard quite a lot, and we can just like to farm this thing the whole way down. I've seen this being used with Charizard, and I think I've even seen it with Jellicent. It's kind of like a triple, you know, ghost move team, which of course if you see a normal type, good luck, but I'm assuming it's Charizard here. So what we sort of need to do is, yeah, of course take switch advantage, that definitely helps. And we need to get like some sort of an overfarm here somewhere. The opponent's going to farm us down. We'll go for the Shadow Sneak. I think we even denied the opponent, which is pretty huge there. Do we get off another move because of that denial? We don't, but that's absolutely fine. I think Hugo probably realizes it. We're going for the Ice Punch bait. I quite like this move here. Oh, the opponent no shields it. That's brutal. That is absolutely brutal. And the opponent, that's actually insane. Like, I'm actually kind of gutted by that one. That was a brutal call by the opponent. They were just letting Sandslash go there. And in comes Tapu Fini, so this is double water then. Not quite what I was expecting to see, and I think we're just in a very rough spot here. Can we somehow win this? And I just can't see it, unfortunately. This Tapu Fini is so oppressive. We need to get off multiple moves on this thing, so it is going to be very close. These water guns are adding up. We do just get to a last second drill run in time. Now the question is, will this take it out? Because they're very close to a surf. That actually does take them out, and the opponent's still got a shield. Now it's going to take them 2 Ice Punches to take us out, and at this range, we'll be able to go for Dragon Claw. This is actually an insane win. Very good games, well played. It was a really interesting match because the opponent made an insane call with the drill run, which looked like a game ender for us, but we somehow managed to win it, and good games. We're getting this Dragon Claw through, which will look to take out the opponent. Good games, Hugo, and very well played. Man, pretty interesting match, and we get a very good lead next game. Cobalion comes through, and we're going to look to come into Giratina. Now, even though we're on Dragon Breath, this is still relatively close. If you're going to shield anything, you shield up the first one. If you're looking to know the counts on this, it's 5, 5, and then 4, and the Sacred Sword is free every time for Cobalion. So they will get to this next one pretty soon here, and the next one will come a little bit sooner. We can definitely just eat another move here, no problem. I wonder, can you win this in the 2 shield? If you shield up Stone Edge correctly. I feel like they will just slightly outpace us here, because while these sneaks are adding up, the opponent will get to another Stone Edge here. Yeah, we do shield it up, and I think we can look to Dragon Breath it down. They'll be 5 off the next one. They can go for a Sacred Sword, but it's not going to make a difference. We can let this go, and we can look to basically RPS the opponent. Anytime I can RPS the opponent, I do like to do so, and look at the damage we're going to do on this thing. These poison jabs are resisted, so we can get off both of these moves easily, and we're going to see a ton of damage come through in this mock. This is actually a non-shadow, so it won't quite do as much, but of course it is not as threatening to us either. They're in drill run range at this stage. You cannot one-shot them from full health. This is a little bit different to Great League, where these super effective moves are looking to one-shot. In comes Obstagoon. They go for the snipe on our Sonic the Hedgehog, but in comes Tails. I guess we're calling Charizard Tails now. Does that mean Giratina's Knuckles? I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. I can't really decide on that one, but they're going to go for the second one. We do let the first one go because, of course, they have the chance to get the boost. And I think we look to be in an okay position here. Like, they do still have shields, which is kind of tough, but we're getting really far ahead in energy. And hopefully we can land a Blast Burn. If they call us, it'll be rough. They do not call it. Can we live this one more Night Slash? If we can live this, we should just about get to the move here. We don't live it, unfortunately, but we do have Drill Runs loaded. This is super tough, unfortunately. Maybe we could have settled for a Dragon Claw there, and that might have got them into close to... Yeah, I think even with a Dragon Claw, that wouldn't have quite done it. We get a very good lead here with this thing, and in comes Snorlax. Pretty good safe swap, and it does super effective damage to our Gira. Now the thing is, unless they're running Earthquake, this is a complete wall to this thing. They cannot farm us down with Licks, and these Dragon Breaths are doing more damage. So you're seeing once again the power of Dragon Breath. They go for Body Slam. It is resisted, and we can look to basically take Switch on this thing, absolutely no problem. We're doing a lot more damage with the Fast Move Pressure and the charge moves. We can easily live another one, doesn't matter what move this is. Of course, it's not going to be the Earthquake, and the opponent gets off a last second one. I think we still survive this, just about. It's superpower, we do just about survive it. 1 HP in a Dream, we get off the move on Gliscor, and we're looking to be in an amazing position. I think an Ice Punch would pretty much one-shot this, and in comes Charizard versus Charizard. So all we even need to do, like, the opponent's ahead by 1 here, we can just let this move go, to be fair. Okay, fair enough, it's Dragon Claw. Actually, the Blast Burn would have come very close to taking us out, but we can look to basically go for an overfarm on this. The opponent does let that go. So the opponent makes a good call, and we win CMP, which is amazing as well. The opponent makes a good call on the Dragon Claw, they let it go, and back in comes Gliscor. This Gliscor is in such a rough spot now. We can let this first Night Slash go, and they'll probably look to farm us down. We do get off the Blast Burn just in time, and at this point we've got energy and Sandslash. All we need to do is farm up to back-to-back, and it's basically game over for the opponent. They can go for an Earthquake, but I don't think they can bait and go for an Earthquake, so this is just game over for the opponent, and they should probably just let this go, right? The writing's on the wall, buddy. The writing is on the wall there, buddy. Good games, well played, and yeah, Gliscor is one of them ones where I feel like it depends on alignment so much. Sandslash is another Pokemon that sort of does depend on alignment, and we're seeing Snorlax once again. The Licks are coming through, but so are the Dragon Breaths, and once again, unless they have Earthquake, actually they know Outrage as well, so unless they have Outrage, which you can't really shield a potential Outrage, I think as the opponent here you could potentially look to threaten it, but yeah, like this is just a very dominant matchup for Gira, as you guys seen earlier. We're going to look to take this thing out. they will get to a couple more moves, and yeah, good games to the Snorlax. I think this one's Shadow and the last one wasn't, so these Dragon Breaths are adding up even more. This is playing out pretty much exactly the same way. Maybe it was a Shadow before. It feels like I'm watching the same match here almost, but of course it is a Drapion lead this time instead of a Mach. So I wonder will the final Pokemon be the same as well? This Drapion's a little bit less bulky than the Mach as well. Drapion can be such a tricky customer, man, like with those spammy Aqua Tails. Of course they know Crunch, they usually go for Sludge Bomb. Yeah, in comes Scrafty, and this is basically game over for the opponent. We pace equally to the Foul Plays, but like, we can just do so much wing attack damage. The opponent YOLOs the Foul Plays, so very nice shield there. We can just go straight Dragon Claw here, or like look to YOLO the Blast Burn. I think probably the safest thing is to go straight Dragon Claw, because, you know, the wing attacks are adding up way more than the counters anyway. So if you land like one Dragon Claw or one or two Dragon Claws, as you can see here, they're in Dragon Claw range, right, with all the wing attacks. So I think you probably just go straight Dragon Claw on this thing. In comes this thing. We can look to even get off 2 moves on this as well. Or if they shield us up, go for the Blast Burn. We're going to come straight in, go for the big move on this. I think this Crunch will just about take us out, or maybe just about won't. It's Aqua Tail, and we do get off the move. Good games, well played. Sandslash and Charizard, like I said, are probably 2 of the best sweepers in this entire league. So if one of them is up a shield at the end, it's good games. We got a very negative lead. We have the newly buffed Pokemon, and this is not great for Ampharos. The opponent comes in here, but once again, this thing is just going to straight out bulk the Ampharos. This is also non-shadow, so these moves are completely unthreatening. We do not have to shield even the second Brutal Swing. Boom, it's a non-stab. We can let the second one go as well. But they cannot farm us down really with the Volt Switch, and we can look to just basically probably farm it down from this range here. Yeah, so we probably could have let that one go. That's absolutely fine though. We are maintaining some health, and this Gira can still be very, very useful against the Poliwrath. So I actually do quite like that shield, because Poliwrath can be a little bit awkward for Charizard. You are dealing super effective damage to it, but, you know, I think this is a good position to be in here. We comfortably live in Ice Punch, and we're going to get off probably 2 more Dragon Claws. So this is looking very, very good here. Can we get off of the next one? We definitely can. And even if the opponent goes for the counter down and gets a ton of energy, they're going to be in a position now where their health is so low that they can get wing attack. They come in with the Charizard, and they're up 2-1 shields. This is a little bit tricky now. We do CMP on the move. I think we have to call this. I think we have to let this go. Oh, nice call. I would have probably tried to let it go, because we're in that shielding scenario. Like, it's definitely just looking a little bit rough. Can we get to this next move? We do. So at least we're going to get shields off the opponent, so we're definitely gaining something out of this matchup, and these Shadow Claws really add up. The opponent's going for a huge overfarm, really nice CMP by them, and we're going to definitely have to eat a move on Charizard. We almost have to build up to like back-to-back moves here, or maybe we can just look to wing attack the Poly down. Can we farm this down? The opponent comes in and throws off a move. Unfortunate. I think this Ice Punch will look to take us out. We just about survive it. Can we farm it down? And we've got the Dragon Claw loaded. A very, very close match. Charizard is just so much fun in this league, bro, and yeah, we just about sweep it with 1 HP and a dream. That's a really nice win. Very well played by Hugo, and we're going to hop on into the next one. Sandslash versus Cresselia, once again. It's about the best lead you can possibly get with this Pokemon. They're going to look to stay in here because, you know, like I said, even though this is all resisted damage, Sandslash do not be the bulkiest boy, and we're going to look to farm up to pretty much 100 energy before throwing, and we'll probably look to come out with at least a couple of moves loaded, or 1 or 2 moves. The opponent gets off another move, and we're actually getting the Shadow Claws through here, which I think I prefer, especially if they're staying in. You don't really need to CMP them unless it's the final move. We're going to look to get this off. It won't quite take them out, so we'll get a few more Shadow Claws through, 1 more Shadow Claw before they get off the move, and in comes the Cobalion. Now I'm wondering if this is double swords, but that wouldn't really make the most sense. You'd be pretty weak to Charizard on the lead. You're kind of like ABA weak to Charizard, and it's not a very comfortable match for Cobalion as well. It's a bait-dependent matchup for Cobalion, but it is Gliscor here, which, again, like, it's not an amazing match for Gliscor versus Charizard, so I feel like the opponent's not really respecting that too much. They do not get the boost, which you love to see, and we're going to look to get off, hopefully, 2 Dragon Claws. The opponent kind of needs to get a farm down, and this is a non-shadow, so I think we might even just about live this move as well. This gear is so tanky. Oh no, it does take us out, fair enough, and we'll probably look to go for double Ice Punch on this thing. I think the opponent probably does try to let it go and go for the sweep of Cobalion, and we come in with Charizard. We should hopefully be able to take this. I think we're going to look to probably go for a bait on the first one. This will look to one-shot the opponent, and if they go straight for Stone Edge, we definitely win. If they go for Sacred Sword, I think it gets a little bit awkward. Sacred Sword's 9 turns. 2 of those. Yeah, so like it's a little bit awkward. This is going to come down to a call here somewhere along the line. Will the opponent go for the Stone Edge, or will the opponent go for another Sacred Sword? We're leaving it till the last second. We do call the Stone Edge this time. He was super tempted to call it. I think they might have just... I think we actually do slightly outpace though, if I'm not mistaken, so I think we would have won anyway. But very good games, well played. And in comes the Deoxys versus Sandslash, very negative lead. We're going to come into Gira, and in comes another Snorlax. Apparently Snorlax is quite popular. I've seen a few of these myself today, so I guess this is a pretty common safe swap that you would see. Again, this is going to play pretty much the exact same way. They're going to go straight Body Slam, and then go for a Super Power right at the end to almost take us out. We're going to, of course, just go straight Dragon Claw on this thing, and at this point we should probably be coming out with close to a Dragon Claw as well. Body Slam coming through. Okay, it looks like they're doing less damage. Maybe this is a highly ranked one. So they played out slightly differently there. So we're going to go for the Shadow Sneak on the Deoxys. Again, this is a Pokemon that does not appreciate Dragon Breaths. As you can see, these moves add up so quickly on this Deoxys. Deoxys is really high defense but low HP. So single turn moves, if you have a single turn move Pokemon against Deoxys, you just absolutely wreck it. They put in some Rock Slide, which I'm supposing is the recommended moveset for Ultra League. I don't think we survived that Rock Slide, so definitely very nice shield right there. If the opponent lets us go, this Blast Burn should look to take them out from here. It definitely does, and in comes Obstagoon. We're going to YOLO the Blast Burn again. I think we are sort of inclined to bait here at this point. The opponent has 2 shields, they've got an Obstagoon, and hopefully they're not running Obstruct. That would be kind of a nightmare here. Let's see what we can do about this. It is Obstruct. We do call it, which is good, and we're going to look to go for another one. I think the opponent can comfortably let this go now at this point, but they do shield it. Now, can this Blast Burn take them out? We come in with Sandslash. Since the opponent's on Obstruct, there's no way in hell they've got a Cross Chopper out. Yeah, so they're just buffing the defense even further. Super annoying when they go for the cycle, but I think we should be able to win this, no problem. We just need to get this into Blast Burn range, and this is game over. Yep, they can Obstruct all they wish. We're going to get them into Blast Burn range, and yeah, good games to Obstagoon here. I think they're triple buffed on defense, so this might not quite take them out, but we should be comfortable enough here. Yeah, we'll be able to bring attack down. That's going to be a good game well played, and thank you very much to HUGO for sending in the battles. The opponent only has Obstruct, it would seem, and good games. Thank you very much, HUGO. And if you want to send in some battles of your own, link in the description down below. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for a brand new video.